Hello and welcome to this session today. My name is Gorjana Mitic. I'm the Commercialization and Innovation Manager, and I look after the University's Life Sciences and Medicine IP portfolios. Today I'm here representing the Office of Commercialization and Innovation to tell you what you need to know about intellectual property during your candidature. So first of all, why is the university interested in intellectual property under the National Principles of Intellectual Property Management for Publicly Funded Research? We as the university are legally required to exploit the results of publicly funded research for the benefit of Australia. However, others also benefit from this process, and it certainly facilitates benefits for the inventors of technologies, for the institution, and Australian and international community. If you as an individual experience the process of IP protection, commercialization and translation of your research, it significantly adds to your employability, and you certainly develop many skills that you probably haven't envisaged at this stage. So what is intellectual property? If you think about it on a daily basis during your research, it really is a product of your thoughts and the creativity that you put in your research project and all of the intellectual effort. So this can encompass inventions, designs, software, a lot of know-how, a lot of the knowledge that you use and create to develop your innovation. And intellectual property that you develop through this process really creates tangible rights and assets. And these rights and assets can be protected by law. As the owner of that intellectual property, you have the exclusive rights in relation to that subject matter and IP. Why would we protect this intellectual property? It is because it really stops unauthorized use by others. And in case of patents, it gives you market exclusivity for 20 years. I will talk more about the value of IP on the next slide. These are the types of intellectual property rights that exist, and I'm sure you will be familiar with some of those. For example, within the registered rights, there are patents and trademarks and designs that you may be familiar with. And within the unregistered types of IP rights, for example, there is copyrights, trademarks, and of course, confidential information, which is very important intellectual property. So why would we value IP? It certainly gives you a proprietary asset and knowledge. What can you do with that? First of all, it secures an exclusive monopoly that you can exploit that intellectual property. Through that exploitation and use and commercialization, you are certainly building a competitive advantage to enable, for example, a licensing or a sale of an asset. If you have a company, it will enable you to raise capital, increase the market share price if you're listed, and it certainly blocks the competitors. It severely restricts them from exploiting that same IP that you own. So what happens with the ownership of IP at Macquarie University? I will focus on you as HDR students in this case, where the university actually asserts the ownership of the IP from your project. This is specific to your research project. It doesn't mean that it includes all of your ideas and your very clever heads. It is limited to your research project. And how do we invest in that IP? We actually cover the costs of IP management. We cover the costs of our patent attorneys that file and manage our patent portfolios. We pay for legal advice, and there's access to the expertise within our office, as well as access to the contacts and network that we use to partner these technologies. At the beginning of your candidature, there will be a form where you can assign the intellectual property that you developed during your candidature to the university. This happens in almost all cases. Some of the exceptions are very rare, and they can happen in areas of copyright, potentially filming, and in some other areas where we take it seriously case by case, but this happens in the very large majority of cases. So we have an IP policy which determines how any proceeds and commercialization income is shared between the university and the inventors. If you are an inventor on an IP that is commercialized down the track, the split for Macquarie University is 50-50, which means that 50% of the commercialization income is distributed to the research team, and the rest stays within the university centrally. Our office has a simple, just show that. We have a simple innovation disclosure form. It's just a 2-page, which is really an introduction of what is the technology that you have developed. And it starts the conversation so that we can embark on the process to really assess your innovation and think about what is it useful for, what can we do with it, do we need partners, and what kind of partners we need. So it's a simple 2-page form that you can fill out when you believe you have developed something very interesting that may be novel and patentable and inventive that you would like to discuss with our office about how can we translate that technology and actually turn it into reality. So some of the questions that we would ask after receiving that simple form is to think about, is there a need for what you have developed? Who would benefit from it? Should we protect it? Not all IP that is developed, it's not the best IP strategy to actually go for patent protection. However, there are other IP strategies that we would develop together with you. Is that innovation novel? Is it inventive? And what can we do with it? How would we develop it? And what kind of partner do we need during that process to further develop that technology? So we help you throughout this process, and we assess the commercial value, the value proposition, and what are the further steps that need to be taken to further develop it. So we go through the process of turning ideas into reality, into a service or into a product. And that is what our focus is to really translate early discoveries from the university and do it right in the first place, so that we enable that very long process of commercialization to take place. If we do it right in the beginning, then we are enabling that process to also happen appropriately. One specific topic that I wanted to cover today is publishing. I would firstly like to say that publishing and patenting are not mutually exclusive. We have some academics with sizable IP portfolios with our office, and they have said that the patenting has never had a negative impact on their ability to publish. Timing is very important, which is why we encourage you to talk to us when you believe you have developed something with commercial potential. If the process of publishing and patenting is timed properly, there should be no issues, and definitely no major delays in the process. Please keep in mind throughout your candidature that if you make public disclosures of your work, that is really limiting our options for patenting. So we were very happy to talk to you early and understand what you're working on, and we can make a strategy, come up with a strategy of how to allow you to publish, make public disclosures, and at the same time protect something that may be valuable. Something else to keep in mind, please, is that when you finish your thesis, I know at this stage probably seems like something very far away, but it happens very quickly. You can embargo the publication of your digital thesis, and you have to talk to the library about this. And this can be done for over a period of 12 months. Of course, if you start talking to our office earlier, we will let you know about this and remind you that this exists. However, keep this in mind, talk to your supervisors. If you believe that you have come up with something that's commercially potentially valuable and that you would like to talk to our office about it, then please apply with the library on time for this thesis embargo. And these are our contact details for our office. Please get in touch. We would love to hear from you. And I wish you all the best for your candidature. Thank you. Bye.